Welcome to the photo department. Today's a weird day. I haven't gone out to buy more coffee, so I'm actually out of coffee beans. So I haven't had any coffee today. So I'm drinking Squirt, which is in no way sponsoring this video, and is the best soda besides root beer. And if you disagree, I will send you my address and you can come fight me about it. So I'm excited today because I got a delivery of some film that I ordered that I had never tried before. I was inspired to try this film by Dylan Barnes, who is a photographer from Florida, and he has a blog online called nowdeveloping.photos. You guys should definitely go check that out. He actually profiled me on the 31st of July for his Part of the Process series, which is really cool. So it shows some of my work with film, and I kind of get to discuss what I like about film and processing film and how I kind of go about it. So it's really cool to read. It's a great website. I love reading his articles, and you guys should definitely go check it out. So Dylan had posted a photo on Instagram that he had taken with Fuji Natura 1600, which I have right here. And I had never tried shooting with it because I had actually never seen it in person. I thought that it was only sold in Japan and you could only get it if you went there, or you had to pay really expensive import prices for it. But after talking to Dylan, I realized I could get it on Amazon for about $13 and some change on Amazon per roll, which is pretty damn steep, but kind of worth it considering what I've seen with this film. This film is really cool. It is a 1600 ISO color negative film, which is a really, really high sensitivity rating for color film. You don't see this very often. Fuji also has a Superia 1600, and there are a few other, I believe, 1600 color negative films, but they're not a lot. Natura used to be sold in 3-roll packs, like you see sometimes like with Kodak or other films, but they actually discontinued that, I believe, last year, so now you can only buy single rolls, which is kind of a bummer, but it's expensive, so I'm not really seeing myself buying a lot at a time unless I have some extra money lying around, which is never. Like I said, I've never tried this film, but I've seen a lot of people who have shot with it a lot, and it looks really, really cool. The colors seem to be kind of pastel in some examples, but more vivid in others that I've seen. I can tell from a lot of the photos that the reds seem to be a lot more saturated than the rest of the colors, and there's less of a green cast than I'm used to seeing in other Fujifilm. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out when I shoot it. So my instinct with this film is to overexpose it to stop by shooting it at ISO 800 instead of 1600. But I'm not going to do that this time because I've never shot this film before, and I really want to see what I can do with it, shooting it at box speed before I go pushing and pulling and squeezing every bit of latitude out of it that I can. So this roll is going straight into my Canon F1 with my 50mm f1.4 lens, and I'm just going to go out into the world. I'm going to shoot some bright daylight portraits and street shots, and then I'm going to try to do some shots in the evening when it's a lot less bright. I really want to see how this film interacts with artificial light at night, so I'll try to do some downtown San Francisco or maybe Berkeley shots with all the stores lit up. All the stuff that I've seen from like downtown Japan, all the photos I've seen from like downtown Tokyo or any other major city at night using Natura 1600. It's really interesting, really cool, super vivid, and I want to see if I could recreate that here. We're going to go out and shoot. I'm going to do 36 frames. I'm going to show you every frame that I take in this video. Let's go. Alright, so I processed the images and I got about 27 usable frames back. I think I just made a couple of mistakes when doing my exposure settings when I was shooting, but whatever, it's fine. I'm really happy with all the frames that came out. So I originally was going to take the film to a lab to have processed and scanned because I've never processed this type of film or shot it, so I wasn't really sure what it was going to look like when I got the film back, or if the stand development process I used for color was going to do this film any service since it's a really high speed color film. But I decided that I wanted to use my original workflow for this roll of film, so I went ahead and I processed it with fresh C41 chemistry, and I think it came out really great. It's pretty grainy, but in a really pleasing way. It's not like a heavy grain like I'm used to with some of the higher grain, or I'm sorry, some of the higher speed black and white films that I shoot with. Those have a more coarse grain. This is a finer grain, and it's a little, it's like texturally pleasing. It's not distracting, and it actually, I think, adds to some of the images. Like some of the model in the field, I think that with the tonality of the sunset and the way that everything's really warm, it really kind of works to bring the image out and make it a little bit more interesting. So I shot it at the beach, I shot it in full sunlight during sunset, and then I shot it at night with lights from neon signs and buildings, and I really enjoyed shooting it. I thought it was really fun being able to shoot at higher speeds at night. It allowed me to do some things that I'm normally not able to do with film, which is really cool. I particularly really like the images of the liquor stores and buildings that are lit up at night. I think that the way that the film renders color and that light is really interesting. There's a really nice fall off of light on the outer boundaries of where the light falls in the image, so it's really cool. It's kind of spooky looking, so that is really interesting. I really like how it looks and feels in daylight. It actually works really well. It's got a very nice just rendering of colors. When I first started reading up on it and seeing images, I thought that the colors were going to be a little more pastel-y than they ended up turning out to be, but I think that I really like the color rendition. It not as pastel as I originally expected it to be, but I guess it could also depend on how you process it. And I think a lot of the images online that I saw that were more pastel were photographers who were shooting the film 1 or 2 stops overexposed, which, like I said earlier in the video, was something I wanted to try, but since I'd never shot this film, I decided to shoot it at box speed just to really see what this film was about. If it wasn't so expensive, I'd buy a ton right now. It's really great. I really loved the look of the film in all different situations. I would use this film in daylight. I really liked the way it looked in backlit situations with the sunset. I think it really worked great there. Yeah, I wish they made a 120. I would use it on my Pentax 6.7. It's really good. I hope that one day Fuji will bring this film back. I think it was a misstep for them to discontinue it. I understand why they did. I think it was like a pretty niche product. Most people who shoot color film aren't shooting super fast films. 800, a lot of wedding photographers shoot portrait 800 when they're shooting weddings at night. But I feel like maybe if Fuji Natura was available in a medium format, I think it'd be really popular for shooting at night, especially at weddings. I feel like a lot of wedding photographers do prefer the look of Fujifilm, especially the Pro 400H, which is something that photographers shoot a lot overexposed. It's got that kind of pastel look going on. So yeah, overall, I love this film. I'm going to buy some more eventually. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what that film looks like and learning a little bit about it. If you have any other questions about the film or about my experience shooting it, you can go ahead and leave me a comment or shoot me an email. And thank you guys for watching. See ya.